So today I'm going to attempt to repair my 22-gallon Campbell Hausfeld air compressor. During the last project, they had like a runaway motor, went real high pitch and a lot of smell of burnt rubber. I think the belt's broken, so I'm going to open it up, see if I can find the belt, and then we're going to get that replaced if that's what it is. Pretty sure that's what it is, and make sure everything else seems fine. So let's get it opened. So to give you an idea of what's wrong with it, I mean, it's not compressing at all. The electric motor kind of run away, so it's got to be the belt's broken, so we're just going to see if we can get that open and replace it. So let's open that thing up. Yep, we got a broken belt. Wow, you can see right there where that's where it smelled like burnt rubber. Alright, so it seems like the pump is fine. Nothing wrong with the pump. And then the motor, obviously it ran a minute ago, so the motor, nothing wrong really with the motor. So I'm going to order a new I can get a part number off here. We'll get another belt ordered and see if we can figure out how to get it on there. It goes by there. Okay, so the little pulley on the motor is ribbed for these little ribs, but this is smooth, so it just kind of goes on there smooth. All right, let me get that part ordered and we'll get, it might be an easy fix. So it looks like I have to take this Allen head bolt off to free this from here to get it over the pump portion, and then it looks like I want to pull this fan off. Okay, that's just a compressed fit. I want to snake the new belt through this gap and over this to get it over that shaft, but I'm definitely going to take that off to get it around that piece. So let's see if we can get that thing worked loose. Oh yeah. Oh, that'll actually swing out of the way. I'll be able to put that belt on like that. Okay, now what I gotta watch out for, I gotta make sure that my belt on these grooves are in the right grooves. So let me get a flashlight and I gotta move it over one. Alright, let me check those grooves now. I think I got it lined up, and then we'll actually start putting them back together. So yeah, the key to making sure this belt is in and out and properly grooved right is make sure this outside belt here is just inside this outer flange. So now I know that that's not only is it pushed in far enough, but I got plenty of clearance up here. It's not going to hit there, and it's riding perfectly on the center of this pump larger pulley here. So let's get it all put back together. Okay, so we got that all put back together. On the end of this shaft, there's supposed to be this fan, and the fan draws air toward this electric motor to keep it cool. And as I was spinning it manually, I noticed that it was out of round. I think what happened is this overheated and kind of melted and basically became warped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all this up, and I'm going to fill this with epoxy to get it solid again, and then I'm going to re-drill, center drill this hole to get this fan more centered, and so I can mount it back where it'll do its job a little better. So let me work on that. I could obviously buy a new one of these. If that doesn't work, I'll just buy a new one, but I'm going to try and fix this first. What's neat is when you take things apart, you kind of realize, you get to understand how things kind of work, and I think this is kind of neat. As I've kind of cleaned up and I'm getting ready to epoxy this, I went ahead and cleaned up the loose plastic that was on the back here, and I removed the little spring clamp that's on it, and what you'll see is these 4 little slits in the front there. That normally is, has a slit and allows it to slide onto that shaft, and then you put that spring clip on there, and that's the only thing that really holds this onto that shaft. So I don't want my epoxy getting as deep as this extra post here where all this is. So I only want the epoxy to go about halfway down. So I'll plug something from this side, and then I'll fill the back side here with epoxy, and then we'll drill it out in the center, and that should allow me to still be able to use these little spring tabs and this spring clamp to mount this back on the shaft. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy and get this thing set up. Okay, so by inserting this wooden dowel, I restricted it from coming out too far into these splines, and then I've actually flipped it back over, and it's now stuck to this tape, which is going to create a seal, and that should now, I'm going to let that harden maybe overnight or something, and then I'll pull the tape off and be able to drill the hole and get that reinstalled. And neat thing about that, I'll end up sanding that down flat again, and then the fact that I didn't fill this completely, that'll start my drill. I mic'd the shaft that this slides on. It's a 1/4 inch shaft, so I've got a 1/4 inch drill. I use this as my pilot hole to make sure it's centered, and a drill press, make sure it's straight, and we'll get that re-drilled, and we'll be able to just slide that on, because this is just a press fit onto that shaft. Last little connection is this little screw. That should be it. I'll plug it in and see if it pumps air. Alright, let's give it a try. Alright, it's compressing air, so I think we fixed it. That was probably one of the easiest fixes I've done in a long time. That's, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 1 maybe. I mean, you gotta need a screwdriver and an Allen wrench. The epoxy piece was a little bit odd, but that was so simple to get that belt on and off. Couldn't believe that. So anyway, now I got this compressor back running. Interestingly, don't tell my wife, but while I told her this was bad, I did go out on Craigslist and did me a little upgrade. Let me show you that. Okay, so for $500, I picked up this 60-gallon, 230 volt 2-stage Ingersoll-Rand compressor. This thing is going to take care of everything. So I was able to pick this up. I'll end up selling that other one on Craigslist or something and get a little bit of money back on this, and that was a well worthwhile upgrade. So again, we're really happy, and don't tell the wife.